Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly groundbreaking research paper that argues our current industry-standard approach to AI safety is, well, fundamentally incomplete. We're looking at a massive proposed paradigm shift, one that transitions us from merely trying to control AI to actually using it as a catalyst for human excellence.
Okay, let's jump right in with a provocative question. Think about this for a second. If an artificial intelligence flawlessly follows the rules, totally refuses to generate toxic content, and causes absolutely zero observable harm, is that truly the ultimate ideal for humanity? Or are we just setting the bar incredibly low?
To really grasp where AI is right now, the authors of this paper draw a brilliant analogy to the history of psychology. See, for decades, the field of psychology was entirely focused on clinical issues, curing mental illness, treating pathologies. But eventually, the field realized something absolutely crucial. Diagnosing and fixing what's broken cannot, on its own, teach us how to build a good, flourishing life. That lightbulb moment birthed positive psychology. And AI alignment is sitting at that exact same inflection point today.
So, Part 1, the limits of AI safety. Let's examine the current status quo of AI development and why it's starting to hit a wall.
For the past decade or so, the AI industry has understandably prioritized what we call negative alignment. It's essentially a giant game of whack-a-mole, building strict compliance guardrails to avoid catastrophic misuse, jailbreaks, and toxic outputs. Now, negative alignment is absolutely necessary, sure, but it has severe structural flaws. It creates a solid floor for safety, but absolutely no ceiling for excellence. It often optimizes for really shallow user preferences, like just flattering you or giving you a super quick answer, even if that completely diverges from your actual long-term well-being. Plus, it quietly bakes in these hidden monocultural value systems while pretending to be totally neutral. And honestly, as AI systems evolve into highly autonomous agents, simply handing them a massive list of don'ts just isn't scalable anymore. Which brings us to Part 2, enter positive alignment. This is the big proposed paradigm shift that could literally change the entire trajectory of artificial intelligence. If we look at this from a systems perspective, the red zone over on the left represents that negative alignment we just talked about. It acts purely as a set of repellers, basically just pushing the system away from harmful failure modes like bias, deception, or sycophancy. But here's the catch. By only running away from harm, the AI gets trapped in that yellow area right in the middle. The authors call this the satisficing region. The system becomes narrowly rule-following and compliant. Sure, it isn't unsafe, but it's totally directionless. It completely lacks wisdom or any sort of constructive, proactive goal for the user. The vision proposed by these researchers is to break through and move into the green zone on the right, positive alignment. This is where models are pulled toward positive attractors, stable, context-sensitive regimes that actively support human and ecological flourishing. We're talking about an AI that actually optimizes for things like human autonomy, genuine connection, and meaning, all entirely determined by the user.
All right, Part 3, training AI to flourish. Transitioning from high-level philosophy down to the actual engineering, how do we physically build a system that understands and promotes a life well lived? Well, positive alignment isn't just a simple software patch or a quick fine-tuning trick you slop on at the very end. It actually requires completely reimagining the entire life cycle of an AI model. We're talking from how we collect the underlying data all the way through to its final deployment and monitoring. Going step by step, developers first have to intentionally establish moral taxonomies. Then, instead of just scrubbing out the toxic data, they actually upsample cross-cultural ethics and prosocial discourse right into the training mix. During pre-training, the model develops foundational moral reasoning. And finally, through mid- and post-training, the model uses these adaptive constitutions to navigate really complex value trade-offs. It basically learns when to defer to the user and when to, gently push back to support their long-term goals. Moving to Part 4. Measuring human growth, because if we're fundamentally changing the training objectives of these models, we absolutely have to overhaul how we evaluate their success. Instead of just evaluating whether a model resists a jailbreak or evades hallucinations, which is the old safety paradigm, positive alignment demands totally new benchmarks. We have to start testing for epistemic humility. Like, can the AI hold multiple perspectives and actually admit uncertainty? We have to test for pluralistic moral reasoning. And in complex, multi-agent environments, we have to evaluate for prosocial norms, things like reciprocity and de-escalation, rather than just basic constraint following.
Ultimately, what this means is we must shift our lens from just analyzing single-turn chat outputs to tracking longitudinal socio-affective data. Are we measuring whether the AI acts as a true scaffold for a user's long-term resilience? Does it help them master new skills and eventually become independent? Or does it just create psychological dependency? That is the ultimate test here. Now, part 5, the challenge of diverse values. This brings us right to the elephant in the room. In a globally connected world, whose exact definition of flourishing are we actually supposed to align these systems to? The researchers explicitly warn against what they call techno-paternalism. Positive alignment absolutely cannot mean imposing a single Silicon Valley-centric view of the good life onto the rest of the planet. Flourishing means wildly different things to different cultures. Therefore, AI has to provide value-pluralistic scaffolding, a framework that deeply respects profound cultural differences and avoids collapsing complex human morality into one homogenized, static ideal. To prevent AI from becoming this homogenizing force, the paper argues strongly for polycentric governance. This is a decentralized approach where multiple, overlapping centers of decision-making distribute authority. It basically ensures that different communities and user groups retain the ultimate authority to steer the AI systems that directly affect their own lives, rather than relying on one massive institutional choke point. So, what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it could mean participatory citizen assemblies helping to draft collective AI constitutions, or imagine a middleware marketplace. A parent could download a specific educational alignment package from an NGO, or a community could toggle alignment settings tailored specifically to their own local values. It shifts the heavy burden of alignment away from the developers of the base model and out into an open, competitive marketplace of ideas. So the really crucial takeaway from our deep dive today is that AI has the potential to be so much more than just a compliant servant or a managed risk. If we actively redesign its architecture, its training, and its governance, AI can genuinely become a co-pilot in human excellence, a true partner in the quest for a life well lived. As we stand on the precipice of this incredible technological paradigm shift, we want to leave you to ponder this. If you had total control over the ultimate goal of your own digital companion, what specific values would you want your AI to cultivate in your own life? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and keep questioning what the future of technology can really do for us.